Okay, so now we are live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitter. I love that we're live on Twitter. I love to see motion pictures live on Twitter because, Twitter used to be you could only do so much, but now you can
Right.
talk as long as you want on Twitter.
Gee,
So
what
I'm
happened?
Alfred Leonard Weber, and we're here with Patty Greer, and we're here with
Gail of
Gail of
Gaia.
Gaia Free Range. I love that. And today's show is called As a Sovereign Living Person, Take Lawful Action Now. So you have complete authority as a sovereign living person to take lawful action now. Whatever your action is to improve our lot, take it. So take it away. Who wants to go first? Patty, Gail?
Well, your title is flawlessly appropriate. Is it for you also, Gail?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, if you're watching the news, if you're doing any research, you can't help but be passionate about this now. And I'm so blowing up, with the evidence that's coming out. But it's not gossip. This is like congressional hearings, Senate hearings. And that's where my focus is what's actually going on with the officials. And there are good people that are calling out and pointing. But the amazing thing is the punchline. It's like this week, in my opinion, the punchline is the head of the FBI in America. The head of the FBI is this little teeny man, and he answered every single question with the dog crossed the road to get to the other side. Like his answer had nothing to do with the question that was asked. Very clear question, repeated, because it's really important. This lovely little teeny man that runs the FBI for America has a son-in-law and daughter who have a huge successful business putting out tens of thousands of books that have educated critical race theory across America. So when it's in the family, number one, illegal, but there it is. And the evidence is out. It's on the table. Why, as sovereign beings, haven't we done something about it? That's my question to the judge and the jury and Alfred, you're all these things. And it's like legally the system has just gone.
Yes. And you know what? It gives me goosebumps. It really does, because people are finally standing up. I was getting really worried about America for a while here, but now we got people at school boards. We got, whoa, sorry about that. We got people around, like you said, in Congress and so on, and people are standing up and standing up for their rights and saying, and people are walking out. GE, a whole bunch of people walked out there. Doctors and nurses are finally standing up and saying, no, we're not doing this. And they leave. And it's happening all over the world.
Yeah. But we're losing all of our employees, our talented, gifted people, until I guess we get to the point where we just unplug the whole system, let it go down the drain of the swamp, as we were told, a couple of years ago. But this is 18 months of stupid.
Oh my God,
people have gotten really sick, but there's no epidemic going on right now. There hasn't been.
And isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing when you think about it? If there is this epidemic, how can they afford to let people walk off the job, the healthcare workers? Does that make any sense at all?
Absolutely. Or the 1.25 million migrants coming across that don't need to be tested or shot in the arm. Like, none of that's important.
Yes. And none of it makes any sense.
No.
If anyone has any common sense, and I know people do, but it doesn't look like that sometimes. I think people are finally waking up. I don't know if it's the energy on the planets or what's going on, but something is happening. It's getting into the collective, and people are waking up, and it's wonderful. We have to stand up for our freedoms, or they're going to take it all away.
It's a war.
It is. And isn't it amazing?
And it's stunning that my neighbors have no idea I said the words
Yeah.
to somebody important in the neighborhood yesterday. I was like, you might not get it, and I'm not crazy, but we are in a war with communist China. Like our
Yes.
country has been just about taken over, and that's what all this is about. That's why we have no judges we can count on, and none of this that we can count on. But at the level they've defunded the police and trimmed our cities down to danger zones, I can't believe we're still not doing something more stand up about it, but perhaps we are.
I think we are, because I think some of the people that have had the guts to walk off and say, I'm not taking this anymore, have actually, I saw there's an airline that is being formed right now that is for
Unvaxxed.
quaxined. I'm going to call it that. And so that's a good thing, you know. So the other thing is, I've heard of doctors and nurses are looking into the possibility of starting the. I'm sorry about that. That's my dog. A healthcare center for the people that have been have
They
left
made
their
a
job.
different choice.
Yeah. Yes. They're starting their own thing because of it. And then I also heard that in Florida, Ron DeSantis, the governor there, is offering police that walked off the job because they refused to take the jab. He's offering them a $5,000 incentive to come to Florida and work there.
I think Indiana also invited all the police officers from Illinois. Okay, so the girls are on a roll, Alfred. Now he is the lawyer, the judge, and the grounded individual, because we're all over the map with, oh, goody, things are coming out into the open. Is it going to happen, Alfred, or is it going to continue to be hidden?
Well, I won't get there yet. This is what I prepared for today's show, and we'll have a very short film, and then I'll give some context around it. So we're just going to add this film to the thing, and you can see that there. And this is from Natural News. One of the key characteristics: grocery stores being, quote, stocked with cardboard posters depicting food products in order to cover the bare shelves. That's actually happening in the United States now. This is from Natural News, quote, one of the key characteristics of totalitarian regimes is the incessant effort to conceal the failures of their disastrous policies. As inflation grips the nation, they pretend there's no real inflation at all. As the supply chain collapses, they mock those who complain and then tell them to lower their expectations. As grocery stores' shelves go bare, they go to tremendous lengths to create the illusion that shelves still contain an abundance of food, even if they have to print out food posters on cardboard to install the cardboard into the food bins where the food was supposed to be. And these are from the US and the UK. According to the Epoch Times, okay, quote, Biden is threatening to force truck drivers all across the country to take, quote, the COVID death jab. According to the Epoch Times, nearly 1/3 of truckers might just quit rather than get jabbed. And that is going to hit supply chains really bad if even 1/4 of the supply chain hit. This really hit me. For some reason, this really hit me. This is in a grocery store. They have rolls of these food things, and they put them up here so that you don't go into a grocery store and see empty shelves. Now, what do you think about that? What do you all think about that?
I just wonder how many crimes it takes a president to get evicted from the not even in the White House position. Like he's committed so many unlawful adventures for America, and he just keeps galloping around like he's got a little wooden horse between his legs. It's quite shocking how much damage he's done in only 10 months, but that the American people haven't impeached him, whereas they pretended to impeach President Trump twice. And they say that they impeached him, but they didn't. They just tried to, but he was never officially impeached.
Yeah, right. And that's all the arithmetic of the votes in the Congress, the whole question of impeachment. But here you have the issues of the here you have the issues of food supplies beginning, and a managed famine. And so those are the kind of headlines that I'm tracking. And so anyway.
Well, the ships being not allowed to come to port and get unloaded because they made a new law in California that your truck has to be within 3 years old or newer. Who does that? Unless you're trying to do this on purpose.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't
they
hear.
are.
Oh, yes, they are. I didn't hear that one, Patty. That's interesting.
I had a show for a while called Info Whores. I was mocking Alex Jones, but I was with a couple of friends in a pool. We were drinking, which is really rare for me, but we were just news. And the three of us were just nonstop. And I was like, girls, we're like info whores. And I was like, oh my God, that has to be my new show. So I did a bunch of them. Only a few people wrote and said, you're so rude. But I'm still an info whore. I mean, all day long, I work online with my company, C60 Evo, that both of you take.
Yes, we do. Or I do. I know Alfred does too. I love it.
And, between breaks, which is really easy after I go through all the emails and keep track of whatever, and then I get to go watch a video or choose to grab some news. So all day long, I watch a lot of news. I was a documentarian for 10 years, made 8 movies. And so for me, it's about evidence, documentation. Don't tell me what somebody thinks, feels, or some spiritual woo-woo. It's great for a lot of people. But for my brain, I need evidence, facts, things I can block. And there's so much out now. It's just like fat city data time, and everything's getting dumped. But here we thought that the Durham report, grabbing Sussman, which is Hillary Clinton's, one of her many legal people, had lied, and he got caught. But then today I heard somebody that I think I trust say, well, they have 9,000, reports on Hillary's emails and crimes. And so it's going to take months. And so here we thought it was going to be dominoes, boom, boom, boom. And now they said, this is what they do. They just put it off. So it takes a long time.
That's a problem with the entire judicial system, in my opinion, because they're all businesses and they operate like a corporate business. It's really about profit and who's the best liar with a. But the other thing of it is how can you impeach someone who isn't officially
still?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Everything was so unlawful. It's like circus animals for the whole time. And now, again, because I watch so much Congress and Senate hearings now, and I just go for the juicy clips because you can read in the title, who got caught. But they're saying it. They're saying it in the Congress. They're saying it in the Senate, which means it is official, documented commentary between senators and whatever politicians are there. But Fauci, my God, is he busted. And now that it's coming out, the horrible things he did with the beagles and the other dogs, but they said, here people are really reacting to him experimenting on dogs what about the women and children and men? Like for the last 2 years, what about all those poor people that went for the thing in the arm because Fauci said, go for it. Biden said, go for it. And they're all in this race to get the numbers up, and it's an experiment. So this is a man that created SARS and HIV. He was involved in all the lab experiments to create complete death cult diseases for humanity. And here he is, what is he, 80 years old? Was it a joke or was it for real? They put him as sexiest man of the year on Time magazine.
Are you kidding me?
I don't know if it was a meme, but somebody just sent me Time magazine with Rachel Levine,
I think
who is an extremely oversized transgender, now female, with blonde, huge curly hair. But to have that person be the head of our health and mental health department, to me, it's a slap in the face of America.
It is. It is. And Biden keeps slapping people in the face, Americans, and they are waking up, but I don't think they know what to do, because I don't know if you've heard about all the what is it? Go get Brandon, or go Brandon, go or
Brandon.
whatever. And that's not at all what that was said. I mean, it was blank Joe Biden. And so and that has happened at a number of places. So people are not happy with him at all, but I don't think they know how to get rid of him either, or they know what to do to deal with the situation.
I think he's delivered enough felony counts for one president. And these are felonies. Treason is not a small deal, but all of them are guilty of treason. So they're not going to let him go. And all the judges are paid. So they're not going to let it happen.
I'd call it capital treason too, because it's warrants what goes with that. Now, what's interesting is I recently saw an article about 3 judges in the state of Ohio, all of them forcing mandates and forcing people to do this. All 3 of them have died in a very short period of time. I don't know if they got the jab themselves. This is some kind of bizarre karma or what, but doesn't break my heart. They are responsible for the death of so many people. It's not even funny. It's like Fauci is a serial killer of mass numbers of people, because he knew what he was doing.
You know who I feel sorry for now is the doctors that know what they're doing, but they don't want to give up their license and let their family down. You know, they won't get a new Audi this year or something, for Christmas.
You feel sorry for them? You're kidding, right?
Yes, I'm being facetious. On the other hand, there's probably some really good doctors, good people that must be just living in hell, knowing they're killing people, knowing that the numbers and everything has been so falsified. There's got to be some of them who know better, and they're scared to lose their license, and so they're just staying.
How could you do that? That's like pulling the trigger and because to save yourself and forget the other people. I'm sorry, I don't have. They're medically negligent, for one thing. They don't even deserve to have a license.
Yeah.
And I don't even think a license necessarily should be regarded that highly, because if enough of them banded together, they wouldn't have that problem.
Well, I think license now means Alfred probably has words for it, but look at all the people that have to get a license to do things. And if they misbehave, if they don't obey, if they don't push the mandates, they'll have their license pulled. Kind of like a driver's license. If you don't obey, but that's more normal and expected activities. What we're talking about over there is criminal behavior. So when you have this many people in charge being full-on criminals, evil, cold-hearted, it's just like we're going to need a complete sweep.
And aren't doctors supposed to have some kind of oath, do no harm? What happened to that?
What happened to the Constitution? Alfred, what happened to the Constitution?
Well, the U.S. Constitution was eviscerated in 1871 when they established the District of Columbia to be part of the the Tri-City City of Vatican, City of London, and City of District of Columbia as the military arm of the Vatican and the British banks, and that eviscerated the U.S. Constitution, so that the United States government is really a corporation, and it's a corporation that has the franchise of the U.S. territory, and the people now live inside that franchise. So the people have to reestablish their sovereignty and go back to the original Constitution. So that is essentially what the transactions that are occurring now. So things are, we're kind of in a state of chaos and confusion at the moment, because about 50% of the people that correspond to the 50% of the people that are participating in self-execution basically have given up their souls.
And this winter, all those people that, shall we say, allowed themselves to be experimented on might get really sick because of that thing injected into them. May or may not, I don't know. We pray for them, at least I do, because it's not fair. They didn't know any better. They trusted the people they saw on TV, movie stars, actors, musicians, politicians. Oh, wait, a guy claiming to be president also. So I'm sorry, that's a little facetious of me, but I have no respect because of what he's done to this beautiful country.
Mm-hmm.
I have faith, though, that the truth is going to come out, that perhaps he wasn't voted in. And the memes that I post get me in trouble because they don't like the truth on any of the social media. But my God, the memes, in my opinion, have given rise to so many great artisans and clever people having an outlet to throw some words on a photo and just knock it out of the park. I'm so entertained when I let myself go there. And that's like lazy time. On the other hand, my collection of memes that make sense, that talk about this chapter of human history, bear with me. Wow. I mean, we know everything. If the NSA has every phone call, every text, every email, which obviously they do, and of course China does, and who knows how many entities do, I'm not worried because I don't say anything to get myself in trouble anymore. I think I behave better, and I try not to say what's on my mind when I feel like it could get me in trouble. And that's really sad.
It's very sad because
we have to be so sideways.
Be guarded about everything that you say. It's just appalling. And whatever happened to freedom of speech? I want our Constitution back. I want our Bill of Rights back. And I want other people to want the same thing. And because I don't think they realize that all these years since 1871, they've been duped. I mean, there is a group of people that do know, and they're trying to bring this out to other people. But once again, it's always a conspiracy theorist, kind of thing. And it's not a conspiracy when it's a fact.
Right.
And that's a big problem as I see it.
Well, it came out today that we have two governments in action.
Yes.
And we've known, but now it's kind of hitting the news. Now, is Fox News, or is it only Communist News Network, CNN? I don't know if Fox is considered news in America, but there are, I don't know about the shows where they lie, but I listen to people and I go, oh shit, it's Fox. So will people judge me, But there's so much good data that comes with evidence, facts, proof. That's when I like to see news. I don't want to hear propaganda. I
Well,
don't want to hear gossip.
yeah, Patty, could you explain to us the two governments that are in action now?
Yeah.
Well, it's what you were just describing with the, yeah, I mean, with the District of Columbia right here in America. Like,
Yeah.
wait, no, that's Washington, D.C. Well, no, it's really not. It's really not a state I mean, how can they be exempt from American law? That's what amazes me. So there's those of us that live here in this country that think that we're going with all those things you mentioned that, used to be historic before they even tore down the statues of the people that wrote, shall we say, of those bills and those important documents of human history. So, Alfred, how are they getting away with the District of Columbia not being in America, but right there in America?
Well, you see, this is Masonry, and this is if you go the British Crown, the Queen of England, the British Crown is responsible for the Order of the Garter, and the Order of the Garter are the most senior of the Freemasons, and they run Freemasonry, and so it's kind of a very pyramidal structure. So the thing about the world is run on Masonry and Masonic secrets. So everything has a double meaning. If you go to Washington, D.C., it was laid out in a Masonic order, and there are very large Masonic temples there. So that is why you can have this situation now where most, quote, public servants are engaged in executing the living people of the United States, and law enforcement is standing idly by, but is beginning to wake up. Now, there's some good news on the way. And for example, if we go to an organization like Police for Freedom .org. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure what I would be able to to do there, but let me see if I can open up my for freedom.
I feel like I cheated. I took a big swig of C60 Evo before the show, and I'm just wired.
Well, that's good. So if you
I did that too, Patty.
Did you?
Yes,
Can you
I did.
feel it? Like right
Yeah.
up?
Yes.
yeah.
Because I hadn't eaten much, so it did make, yeah.
Let me see, share screen. So can I?
While he's doing that, I want to mention something I just started doing. It's really helping. Chris always talks about on the shows we do with you guys, my C60 Evo partner, that he puts the MCT coconut oil in his morning coffee because it tastes good. And it's really good in a silver bullet, which I make a silver bullet. And I thought, maybe I should try that. And the reason I've never done the MCT coconut C60 is because it has less than half the concentration that the olive oil does. But first thing in the morning, and I always go to pour in a spoonful and I spill it. Oops. So I know I'm getting a big boost anyway, because I probably half the time throw in a tablespoon and a half. So it might be, as much as a teaspoon of the olive oil, but it's a really nice way to start the day.
It is. I used to add, I don't have the C60 coconut oil one, but I used to add coconut oil to my coffee and put it in the blender. And it's coconut oil is really good for you.
It is.
And that's a very tasty.
Every little thing I find that's like helping my health at our age, I just want to share. The other thing, I didn't get back to a video quick enough to hit quit ad. And this lady comes on, this doctor, and she says the first two things you eat every day matter. Like it sets your energy for the day. And I realized, shoot, I start my day with coffee. Maybe I need to actually have food. So I'm trying to make that change.
Fruit is a lot better. Yeah. At least first anyway.
Yeah. If Alfred is still struggling, I learned another.
Yeah, I don't have the, I just wanted to share. Well, here, why don't I read this? This is for police for freedom.org. Okay. So now our tribunal, which is a tribunal of conscience, we now have a mirror site at tribunal.earth. And we have now started a dialogue between our people at tribunal.earth with Police for Freedom. And if you go to, I'm looking at the about page of Police for Freedom, and they have chapters in whole numbers of countries. I'm just looking at the flags. There's the US flag there. There's huge amounts of flags. The Police for Freedom International movement was launched in February 2021. It was inspired by the Spanish association Policía por la Libertad, which was formed in 2020 to improve overall societal well-being in these difficult times, both for citizens as well as members of the police, firefighters, security personnel, and the military. The mission of this movement is to rehumanize our societies, bringing back trust and unity between the security forces and the people. The peaceful marches, events, campaigns, and content created by the Peace for Freedom aim to educate people about their human rights, civil liberties, constitutional rights, as well as the ethical code of conduct for the police and security forces. We are colleagues from different occupations who want to continue to carry out our work based on our personal and professional ethic without being influenced by fears, deceptive narrative, immoral rules, and our differences of opinion. In other words, the police are starting to wake up, right? And they're the ones that enforce the laws, and they're realizing that there are psychopaths and criminals in power carrying out crimes. In other words, who is going to go into the White House and arrest Joe Biden? Because you're way beyond the Constitution, because what you're talking about in terms of, quote, impeachment, you're talking about a government that has essentially collapsed. And so because you have a president who's committing genocide in public sight. So then the question is, and tribunals, for example, our tribunal has ruled that, okay? And then the question is, will the District of Columbia Police go in and arrest Joe Biden? You see, it's beyond the constitutional order, because the constitutional order has collapsed. Now, hold on a second. I want to bring more things to to show you here. Let me bring this thing up a second and show you what we have been up to. So you see the level at which we have been operating. This is a writs of mandamus that our tribunal has been issuing. And what the term writ of mandamus refers to an order by a court to a government official to perform an act required by law, which he has refused or neglected to do. And this type of court order is a remedy that may be sought for if a government agency, public authority, or corporation in service of the government fails or refuses to do its public or statutory duty. Okay, so I'm just going right now to our tribunal website. This is like going to our court records, right? So what we did is that we served all of the U.S. government enforcement agencies a writ of mandamus, okay? And that was to direct them to start doing their job and to start enforcing the laws in the United States, so that we served the writ of mandamus on the U.S. Department of Justice, the Attorney General, the Director of the U.S. Marshal Service, the Director of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the Director of the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Director of the Office of Inspector General, the Director of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, the Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Director of the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the Secretary of Defense of the U.S. Department of Defense, the Secretary of Defense insofar as U.S. National Guard by state, the Metropolitan Police Department of Washington, D.C., the Attorney General of the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Capitol Police to bring about law and order and end the pandemic in the United States, and the pandemic measures, which are actually genocidal.
Yes.
Now, so this was what I'm looking at the 69-page document that we served on all of these individuals. We served it on September 21st, 2021, and we served it on all of these agencies. And so they are actually now, they have been served.
When did this happen, Alfred?
September 21st,
What legal
2021.
obligation do they have to reply?
I'm sorry?
Do they have a legal obligation to reply to you?
So far, the Department of Defense replied, and they replied that they have taken action. And that's the only reply that we've gotten so far. And this was, and we filed for an enforcement of our judgments, which included a complete ban on all COVID vaccinations in the United States, and a complete ban on all COVID measures in the United States. And and that was a writ of mandamus on those on those agencies to arrest the agencies that are carrying out the genocidal COVID measures, because we had already filed writs of mandamus, and I'm going through these now. We had served writs of mandamus on and judgments on the United States president, vice president, and on the governors of the 50 states. And we had served our judgment on them. And so they were already under that judgment. And now, as of September 21st, 2021, the agencies that I just mentioned are all, namely the U.S. Department of Justice Attorney General, the Marshal Service Bureau, the Drug Enforcement Unit, Inspector General, Customs and Border Protection, Federal Bureau of Prisons, Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Department of Defense, U.S. National Guard by State, Metropolitan Police Department, the Attorney General of the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Capitol Police are under writ of mandamus to arrest the President of the United States, the Vice President of the United States, the Health and Human Services, Dr. Fauci, all of its staff, all of the staff that is putting out the entire COVID measures in the United States have all been served by our tribunal as of September 21st,
Thank you.
2021.
That's absolutely awesome.
That is the type of, so that we are a tribunal, and that is what we have done.
What about the media who have been lying to people all along?
Yeah,
in big tech.
okay. So the media is and big tech we issued a 108-page indictment on November 15th, 2020. And on November 29th, we had a virtual trial and issued judgment banning all their activities, including the media's use of disinformation. Their main crime is the crime of disinformation and you can go to peaceandspace.org and read our judgment and read the indictment. And we have all of the major media listed there. Most of the media is under 6 companies. It's all listed there. We go back, we list all of the main perpetrators. If you go back to a meeting on May 5th, 2009 at Rockefeller University. That's at a meeting called by Bill Gates and David Rockefeller Jr. They got them all together and they pushed forward. Everybody from we served the Queen and Prince Philip at Windsor Castle, and we served Prince Charles and the Prince of Wales and Prince William. Personally, we had to go. We went to the males here. There was a big kerfuffle. They were served personally. I've got their cards here. They responded personally within a few days, a couple of weeks, less than 2 weeks of his being served. You see, we operate under natural and common law. Within a couple of weeks of his being served, Prince Philip went into the hospital, and within a few weeks of that, he was dead because he had said publicly that he wanted to reincarnate as a virus that would eliminate humanity. And so that was the operation of natural law, because we are the agency or an agency that is operating under natural law here. And so the United States government, the United States corporation now is under our laws, and they're under an order to cease and desist. All of the police agencies of the United States, all law enforcement of the United States is under mandamus to arrest all officials of the United States government, all cabinet officers, everything who are trying to continue all of these mandates. The governors of the 50 states who are putting who are responsible for the COVID measures in each state have all been served. They're all operating under, they have been ordered by our tribunal under natural and common law and international law, and they're all outlaws. So it's just a matter of time. Prince Philip is dead because, he was the first to die of natural orders. They're Draco reptilians incarnate, and they're dying because this planet is being liberated. And now the United States corporation is falling apart, and we're part of the Liberation Army of the Regional Galactic Governance Council. So those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, that's what's going on.
And those are the two governments that I was talking about. Right here, same day, two going on at the same time. In my films, I had this line that came up, and I had found it in my dreams, wrote it down, woke up, went, ooh, I like that. And it goes like this. It's not what you see, it's what you don't see. It's not who you know, it's who you really are. And I think as we're getting through, hopefully to the other side of this ridiculous chapter of human history, we're going to really see who made it through the test with grace, because there's a lot of people that just got mean and nasty. And a lot of people lost friends. A lot of people can't talk to their family members. And it's because like the best and the worst came out of us through this really challenging test. A lot of people went in a tremendous fear. Oh my God, I'm going to get sick and die. And, with the masks that they're still forcing people to wear, even where I live, I feel like I want to wear a shirt that says, no matter what you think, you don't look good in a mask. It's like,
yeah, when they come out with all these little fancy ones and stuff matching their clothes, and I'm going, oh my God.
The way to get rid of it is if we all wore a mask that said Trump won. Not saying that really happened, but if we all wore that mask, they'd say, okay, no more masks. Everybody take them off.
Yes, they're harming your health, and they're certainly harming children's health. Now, one of the things I can't help but bring up is that I see what they're doing to children, and people get all bent out of, and don't get me wrong, I love animals. I don't know what I'd do without mine, but I've seen more stirring about what's happening with the beagle puppies than I've seen what's happening with child trafficking. And that is just unbelievable. There's some kind of mental block that people have to have, that are blinders that they have on, that they're unwilling to look at child trafficking or child abuse. Where making a child wear that is abusive. And putting them in these little blocks at school and all this, and having teachers advocate this kind of thing, is abuse. Our children are being abused and manipulated in such a way that it's causing psychological and emotional damage that hopefully can be reversed. I find it very disturbing.
Oh, it's appalling. But those are the kids that we can see above ground.
Yes, it's
so
even
much
worse
worse.
below ground. Yeah.
The activities going on. And I think that's what's going to be the 9/11 of disclosure. When people learn about adrenochrome and what a nightmare that is, that it's been going on like right in front of us.
Right under their nose. Yep.
Like, how does Cher look the same at 74 she did at 18? You know, I'm sorry. How does Pelosi still have something left at, what is she, 160 or 90 something? No, she's 80 something. I don't know. She's so darn old, but it's like there's something so evil that has been hidden for so long. And when Mr. Trump, our president, came in, and initially the first executive order he did was human trafficking. And Melania was very passionate about it. Now, I know I'm not meaning to be a Trumper, because I'm not a anythinger other than Constitution, Bill of Rights, frickin' freedom.
We the people.
Frickin' freedom.
Thank you.
You know, when Biden actually said the other day, he mocked us on TV, us being patriots that like this country, let alone love this country or our freedom. He actually said, oh, those people that want to not get the thing in the arm, they're just, you know, going around killing people, you know, and it's all about their freedom. Oh, freedom, how ridiculous. He actually said it on one of his comical appearances where he doesn't answer questions because he doesn't have answers. But when he mocked freedom, it was just one of those moments where I went, you know, the little clips of videos of all the glips he's done, the mistakes he's made, the ridiculous things he said, nothing though compares to the crimes that this entire governmental family has imposed on America and the world. And because I've been in it, like you guys have been in it for decades, knowing all this behind the curtain, I never believed that it would get this bad. I actually thought this was conspiracy talk. And now that we're in it, and the communism is this prevalent, and that the FBI's son-in-law is supplying critical race theory data to all the schools that he could get into in America. How much money did they have to give the school boards, by the way? How much money do they have to give each school, which is public knowledge, but it's not for their playgrounds to be improved and new tetherballs on the strings. No, it's to push critical race theory. It's to bring in transgenderism and make it doable and acceptable. Now, I don't have an issue with Rachel Levine, the big transgender blonde person, but as far as they, I guess we call them they, and I respect transgender people. This is not me saying anything negative other than this particular individual representing our health and mental health in this country. To me, like I said, slap in the face. But when I watched, God, she's great, Megyn Kelly, she interviewed a very wise doctor. Kitty wants attention.
Yeah.
The doctor has done all this research on what's going on with our children. Take your breath away. She said in 2020, children signing up for transgender treatments, which means drugs and surgeries, went up 45,000%.
Oh my God.
For one child 5 years ago that wanted to say, this is wrong, I'm actually needing to change. And the parents went, well, okay. Now that one is 45,000 in 2020. This is how big all this is. So sticking a large blonde curly haired transgender woman to be representing what's healthy and brilliant for Americans is not helping, but it's helping communist China. It's helping Joe and Nancy. But I mean, how we can watch Newsom, gruesome Newsom. There were more than 2 million people signed a piece of paper that said, leave. And what happened? He won the election? Wait a minute.
No, he didn't. They cheated again.
Like, I love my
Exactly.
country. And we got to take it back. We absolutely have to take it back. So
Absolutely.
as we talk about the tribunal, God bless you for working so hard, Alfred. I saw emails every day. It went out to this executive and this person and this department and this department. I saw all your emails and I'm thinking, the guy's almost 80 years old and he's working this hard to help save the planet. God bless you, Alfred. Thank you.
Yes, I'll
Thank
second that,
you.
Alfred. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's wonderful that you're doing that. That's so important. And now we just need to follow it up with enforcement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my biggest.
Well, that is happening because we have the enforcement of natural law. We have the enforcement of common law. We're now talking to the police through the Police for Freedom. You see, they're having to do their dance also. See, everybody's shifting because they're having to do their dance also because they don't want the jab. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing their jab, and the whole thing is who's going to walk into the Oval Office and make the arrest under constitutional law, international law, criminal law. This is what is going on, and I'd like to mention this because it's something that I'm working on right now. I have a new book coming out shortly at the beginning of 2022 called The Chronarchy, The Secret Time Travel Government. But Joe Biden was pre-identified in 1971 by the Chronarchy as a future US president and was groomed to be a future US president. And Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama. I'm sorry to say Trump was pre-identified in 1971. He was groomed to be a president. This is the Chronarchy. This is how this is coming from interdimensions. It's a very complex thing, and I don't want to get into it much now, but these are dimensions, and time as a dimension that is coming in and destabilizing the human souls here, and it has to do with other species, other exophenotypes, and maybe we can get into that in a future show once the book comes out. But Joe Biden is another one of the Chronarchy of the pre-identified and pre-groomed presidents. So they're just they're just putting him in place. People say, well, why didn't Dr. Jill Biden, his wife, prohibit him from running? You know, these are reasonable questions that American housewives ask. I mean, I watch it as well as you did. Well, she didn't, because she knows that Joe Biden is part of the chronarchy and has been pre-identified since 1971. Okay? Now, the chronarchy met with me in 1971 because they had brought my book Exopolitics back from 2005 when it was published back to 1971. So this is a very, very deep story, but we need the awakening. We need right now. The word is, let's keep the awakening happening. That's why we need to dialogue with Police for Freedom. We need right now our tribunal is a very important trial, and it's a mother whose child was taken away in a fraudulent adoption, where the papers were forged by a bribed lawyer that even fooled the judges, and now the person who kidnapped the child wants to give a COVID vaccination to the child. So we're going to stop this. And so it's very important for her to dialogue with and to wake up everybody along the chain of enforcement, to wake up the police, because everybody is kind of like asleep. You know, there are these stories that you have these circus animals like oxen or other circus animals that they were used, that if they had a rope in front of them, they wouldn't move. So the circus caught fire because there was a rope in front of them. They just allowed themselves to be burned. So that the enforcement agencies need to wake up and step out of it and become constitutional sheriffs and stop being corporate agent of the U.S. corporation, and start being law constitutional enforcements for the people. You see, that has to go inside their heads and their souls. So it's like everybody has to go through a rebirth inside. And that's what's going on. And as soon as you have a rebirth inside, that's what happens.
And this is why they're pushing that arm thing as much as they are, because they want to hurry up and off as many as they can or control.
Exactly. Because they want to turn everybody into robots.
Exactly.
And they want to do that while they still got it, because they know they got to hightail it out of Dodge.
Their days are numbered. They know that. It's just, but so many, I know that there are a lot of police that don't even have any idea that their departments are businesses. You can find all the different agencies on Dun and Bradstreet.
Yeah. There, see, a law enforcement has a choice to be a security guard for the corporation or to be a constitutional law agent for the people. They have a choice, and one involves the soul and the other involves the loss of the soul. And that's a choice that they're all going to have. And so that's the moment that everyone is going through here. You're going through here in Canada. You're going through here. We got a joker in the Prime Minister's office, Justin Trudeau. His father, his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, when he retired from politics, he went into law practice, and he used to be my company's corporate lawyer. I used to deal with him all the time. He was my company's corporate lawyer.
Oh my God.
You know, and so and now you have his son who has become, we call him the prime monster. You know?
I like it.
You see what I'm
You
saying?
know,
Because
there,
they have become monsters.
They are.
And he says, and he's up there trying to turn the unvaccinated into monsters. And he has now made it. So he's instituted so that in 3 days, you cannot get on any common carrier in Canada without a vaccination passport, rail or airplane.
Wow.
Isn't
It's got to go.
that goes against the UN Declaration of Human Rights? That goes against all international law. That is the Fourth Reich, right? Because what's inside that little guy is a monster.
Well,
he is the prime monster.
well, I think we've got a prime monster here also.
oh, definitely.
Put in place. But we want to keep it close to an hour, which we are slightly over.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay.
I would like to end positive.
Yes,
just-
that's a good thing. It's always a good thing.
But think
Yes.
about
For me, it's positive to call him the prime monster. I mean,
I
for me,
agree.
that's positive.
Yes, and all the things that you have done to bring them to justice. That's
But,
very
but,
positive.
but
that's what I'm talking about.
I salute what you say.
Like, what are we doing
Go ahead.
today? How
Yeah.
can we help is the punchline.
Yeah,
You know, you're helping by writing books. I'm helping by having this remedy that's helping people think clearly, live longer, sleep better, and survive after they get hurt seriously.
Mhm.
C60evo.com. Gail and Alfred are both on our products, and
Yes.
we love having you guys as our influencers for the company because you're working hard to help people evolve. The word that I love, and I haven't used it in so long, which each one of us is going to have to do independently, is recalibrate.
Yes, and empower yourself.
But to recalibrate for me has been change my eating, change my thinking,
Yes.
change our habits that don't help us moving forward. So that's my gift is C60 Evo and recalibration. The sooner you do it, the easier all this becomes.
Yes, and I as far as what I'm trying to do, I'm putting out shows on a regular basis with people that have very beneficial information and intel to offer and remedies to offer and things that will help lift up humanity and bring them to the point of empowering themselves by the knowledge that they gain, because knowledge really is power. And
Indeed.
that's what this is all about. And I love your product. I have to mention that. It really helps, and it would really help anyone who's succumbed to that. So that's really important. And there are things out there that are very helpful. I do carry a few others that do the same thing, not the same thing, but in a different way, like something with glutathione. But it's all designed to help. And it's I think it's really important that people take a look at these things. They're very important because it'll help raise your consciousness. And that's what it's all about. It's consciousness.
Amen.
Thank you.
well, thank you very much for coming together and really so that we can join our energies and bring them out to everybody, because this is so necessary to create this alternative portals so that people know that there is a real reality out there.
This is really dynamic too. I just feel the energy of the three of us together on this. It's yeah, exactly. So
Good combo.
thank you.
Okay. Yeah, great.
And then it's also really about intention. You know, our intention is to help people evolve everywhere, whatever we can do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, we're going to say goodbye now, but don't go wait. If you can just wait
Okay.
for 30 seconds,
You
because
bet.
we're going to decide when we'll come back with our
All
message
right.
for
Love
next
y'all.
month. So thank you
Yes.
so much, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.